If you gave yourself 1 month solely focused on yourself, just 30 days, your entire life can change. If you've been feeling stuck, burnt out, making excuses why now is not the time, we're going to have to push all of that to the side because that's exactly what's keeping you stuck. So many people think that change takes years or months to create real meaningful change that you can see, but that's not true. You can actually change your life in 30 days, and today I'm going to break down exactly what to do. So instead of living your life on autopilot, make a commitment to yourself to dedicate the next 30 days to all of the things that you want for yourself and no longer putting more time and energy into everyone and everything else besides yourself. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Allie. I'm a self-development and relationship coach, and I put out new videos each week focusing on how you can become your best self. Make sure to hit subscribe because I would love to see you in the next one. Today, we are going to focus on how you can create real changes without the confusion, without it feeling overwhelming, giving you a roadmap so that you can go into the next 30 days with confidence, with clarity, and with a plan. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. One of the biggest things that I see get in the way of people creating change is not clearly knowing where they want to go and what that actually looks like. So step one is going to be clarifying your goals and creating what that roadmap is going to be. If you were to brainstorm where you want to be in your life 1 month from now, what are the things that come to mind? And we can look at it within the wheel of life. So it could be relationships, spirituality, yourself, exercise, fitness, nutrition, all of the different categories. Start to give yourself a rating of where you fall in them and what's missing. Think of this like a life audit. Use the wheel of life to really clarify what your goals are, where you want to be, and get a realistic idea of where you are now without being overly harsh on yourself. You can rate each category like family, friendship, nutrition. Give it a 1 to 10 and then start to work yourself back. Let's say if you were at a 5 in the wellness category because you do some things, like you kind of have some self-care routines, but it could definitely be better, then think about what would it look like to be at a 6 or a 7. Don't try to jump all the way up to a 10 in all of these categories. Start to think 1 to 2 baby steps forward, and what would that look like? Maybe then it's getting better on a nighttime routine or a morning routine, or staying off your phone so that you have that time to check in with yourself, to maybe do a meditation or a journaling practice instead. Get clear on what those little changes could be so that you start to build a framework for what the next 30 days are going to look like. This step can't be more important because if we don't do this and you don't know where you're going, you're never going to be able to get there. The second one is protecting your energy and really creating this time for you. This is a little bit of a self-isolation era, not in the way of completely blocking out other people, but in a way where you're just really refocusing back on yourself because you don't need that external validation from other people. If you tell everyone every step that you take in life, you might be seeking too much validation from other people. This is a time for you to get back in touch with yourself and what matters to you and get in alignment with the version of you that you want to be in 30 days, not trying to get approval from others. This is also a time to learn to listen to your inner voice and what does and doesn't work for you. So if you're in the habit of oversharing and telling other people things, try to not do that for 30 days and just listen to yourself. What works, what doesn't work, and honor your needs that way. How you talk to yourself literally influences your whole life. If you're harsh on yourself or criticizing yourself or putting yourself down or just telling yourself every little thing that you don't follow through on, this is going to reinforce all of these core beliefs and a self-image that you're someone who can't follow through, you're someone who doesn't do the things that you say you're going to. If you're criticizing yourself all the time, this is something that we need to immediately stop because this is only going to hold you back from reaching your goals and reaching your full potential. Think about how you talk to your friends. Would you talk to your friends the same way that you talk to yourself? Or would you be more supportive? Would you be more caring? If somebody didn't follow through on something, would you sit there and criticize them? Or would you say, you know what, like something got in the way and this maybe wasn't the best week that you've had, but what can you do to pick yourself up and do it differently next week? Start to check in on the self-talk that you're having because any change, any goal that you want to go after, any system you want to put in place, if the self-talk isn't there and you can't be kind to yourself and praise yourself and build yourself up, you're never going to be able to get to the place that you want. Think about your future self and how that version of you would be talking to yourself. The version of you that's going after the things that you want, that's investing in yourself, that's building yourself up, is probably going to be very kind and gentle. So anytime you catch yourself going to that negative place, take a step back and be like, okay, what would my future self say to me me, and me 30 days from now, how can I embody that version of myself and start to implement that today? The more times that you can bring yourself back to the present moment and do something different is the quicker you're going to start to see these changes. Something I talk about a lot is non-negotiables. I am huge on having daily non-negotiables that make me feel like my best self. And these things could be limiting screen time, putting my phone on do not disturb, having morning and evening routines, exercising a few times a week. Think about what your non-negotiables are that you need to have for yourself, and then think about how many times you break this. If you set goals or tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't actually follow through on it, make a commitment of what's one thing that you can do this week that you're going to set a goal to and actually follow through on. The more times that you do this, the more you build it up and the more it becomes routines and habits. The next one is setting boundaries and getting out of your comfort zone. If you've tried to create change for yourself before and you haven't been able to do it, there's probably a part in you where you don't have boundaries for yourself. And what I mean by this is if you set a goal and you know the things that could get in the way, if people ask you for help and you always say yes, if you don't follow through on the things that you tell yourself, if you don't have those boundaries for yourself, you're not going to be able to reach the goals that you want. So what can you commit to over the next 30 days to start following through on boundaries for yourself so that you can create the changes that you want to see, so you can build yourself up and have the confidence, the self-love, embodying that version of you that you want to be? It all comes down to having boundaries and being able to stick to the things that you set out to do. Familiarity keeps you stuck. The more we know something and the more we keep doing something, we're not growing. Being able to get out of our comfort zone, do something that feels a little uncomfortable, that's where growth happens. Once you know where it is that you want to be, the small changes that you want to make, and the boundaries that you want to set for yourself, the next step is being able to implement it into your life and creating the structures that you need to be able to follow through on this. Think about what you want to focus on for yourself over the next 30 days. What would a huge win look like? What would success look like? Would it be spending nights with yourself and getting to know your likes and your dislikes, or taking care of your body, reading a book? Start to think about how you can implement this version of you, the things that you want to do, into your daily life, and think about it in terms of SMART goals. I always like setting SMART goals because it really breaks it down into something that you can actually do and actually achieve. If we were to say that a goal would be to work more on spirituality, then I would say, okay, what does that look like? What are the things that you want to do to get back in touch with yourself? Maybe it's a journaling practice. So I want to journal 3 times a week. I want to do it at night. I want to put my phone on do not disturb because that eliminates the distractions and the things that can pull you from it. Light a candle, make tea, and make it this really great ritual that you're excited to do. It's going to be specific because you can break it down to Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, and then start to look forward to this. Change shouldn't feel overwhelming or intimidating or scary or something that's impossible to reach. It should be something that feels really good. If you journaled 3 times a week over the next month and gave yourself 30 minutes each night to ground yourself, you're going to feel so different because you're going to be in touch with yourself. You're going to be able to reflect on the day, on the things that you want to change. You're going to work on your mindset. Doing one small change truly does add up over time and create huge changes. That's why I say 30 days is all you need to create change. 30 days sets the foundation for habits, and over that time, you can further refine them. It's not about creating huge changes overnight because that's never sustainable, but think about the couple things that you can do for yourself over the next 30 days that's going to create that foundation for your future self, for the version of you that you really want to step into. Having it scheduled out like this in a way that's realistic also prevents burnout. Think about how many times you've tried to create change and you haven't followed through on it. My guess is it wasn't specific, it was probably too much change at once, and it wasn't anything that was actually sustainable to create in your life. I'm huge on doing things that are sustainable, and anytime I create a change for myself, I always think about that because I've had times in my life too where I've tried to take on too much at once. I've done too many things and I've burnt myself out. So before you set any goals, really ask yourself, is this sustainable? Can I actually follow through on this? Because the more times you set a goal and follow through on it, the more confident you feel, the more sure of yourself you feel. And that also is the less that you need external validation because you can provide that for yourself. You trust yourself in the things that you say you're going to do, and you actually are able to follow through on that. The next one is creating the environment that's going to set you up for success. If your home is messy, if things are out of place, it's going to make creating change so much harder. Our area, what we live in every day, truly is a reflection of what's going on internally. And if you think about it, when you're feeling like your best self, your place is also probably clean, neat, and tidy and easy to find things. I'm huge on doing spring cleanings, summer cleanings, totally revamping things a few times a year. So before you start on this month, if fitness and exercise is something that's really important to you, create a whole section of your closet for all of your workout clothes, organize it, make it look pretty, make it something that you're excited to go and put on and go do in the morning. If cooking and nutrition is something that's really important to you, go through your cabinets and clean clean out all of the stuff that doesn't need to be there, organize your pots and pans, make it easy to find stuff so it feels good when you go into that space. The places that you're going to be spending the most time in, try to set that up in a way that's going to feel really good and energetically aligned to the version of you that you want to step into. And then the last one is celebrate your wins. This one I can't stress enough because we want to celebrate every time we follow through on something. For me, every time I put a new system in place, every time I start something new, I want to celebrate that. The time that I dedicate and put aside to filming these videos, it's something that I don't always feel like I have the time to do, but this is important to me. So when I set the time aside to do it, I feel really good, and after it, I feel so accomplished. So think for yourself, what can you do over the next 30 days that's going to make you feel really accomplished, like you're stepping into that new version of you, and celebrate those wins. If you journal, amazing. If you journal one time a week, that's great. Go for a walk once. Take time to self-reflect and get in touch with your feelings and what feels good and what doesn't feel good, and how you want to work on relationships this month going forward. Once you've done all of these foundational steps to prep and get ready for the next 30 days, sit down and make a list of what are the top 2 to 3 areas that I want to work on, what are the exact steps I want to do in each of those, and how can you implement it throughout the week. Something that I love to do is on a Sunday, really sit down and get clear about what my goals are for the week, what I want to do, and where I have time to do it throughout the week. And I plan it into my schedule so that there's no excuses. I know the days that I'm going to go work out and exercise. I know the days that I'm going to be editing. I know the days that I have sessions. Doing that and planning ahead is a non-negotiable for me. And that's something that I really want to encourage you to do, because if you do these things, you will be shocked about how much can change and how differently you can feel. You can completely change your life and your mindset in 30 days just by simply getting organized and prepared and knowing the changes that you want to implement. If you've made it this far in the video, I would love to hear what it is that you want to focus on over the next 30 days. Let's support each other in the comments and talk about how we can get there, because I promise you change is possible, and all it takes is 30 days to truly change your mindset, your life, your routines, and your habits. And don't forget to hit subscribe, because I put out new videos each week, and I would love to see you in the next one.